All right, I am going to make a vase. I'm in the scene with my flower. There it is. Its visibility is still off. And again, I am in the front orthographic view. I'm going to go to the Create menu, Curve Tools, CV Curve Tool, and I am going to start my vase maybe one box above the origin. I'm going to hold down the X key on my keyboard, which will snap me to the grid. Then I'll come a few boxes over. Click there. I've still got X held down. I'm going to click down onto the grid, and I'm going to click in this spot a few times. By putting 4 or 5 points in the same place, what I'll do is I'll make a nice flat bottom for my vase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'll go a box over or so, and again I will click 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right on the grid. Now I'm going to let go of X and just draw the rest of my vase free form. Maybe I'll give it a nice little pot belly and come up and give it a tight little neck. And then we'll come out and around and back in. The last point I click, I am going to hold down X again and click back to the origin, and then I'll press Enter. So what I've got is the profile of a vase. If I go over to my front view, I should see it standing up like so. It's kind of like a brontosaurus head. To turn that curve into a vase, I will go to the Surfaces menu, which we haven't used before, and I'm going to run the Revolve command. I will open up my option box, and first, just so you can see what happens with the defaults, I will hit Apply. And look, there's a vase. There it is. I can stick my flower in that. Shouldn't be a problem. I'll just take this and move it over to the side. The first thing that you should know about revolves is that they are connected to the curve that makes them via a thing called history. That means that when I come into the curve and I go to Control Vertex, I can take my control vertices and edit them, and that will cause the curve to adjust its shape. So I can continue to adjust my revolve. I kind of liked the original shape. We'll leave it there. The second thing you need to know is that when the revolve is live, I can still make some adjustments to it. You remember the channel box and the input that we used on the flower petal. I can do the same thing with the revolve. So in the Revolve Surface, there's a node called Revolve 1. In Revolve 1, I can adjust the start sweep. So if I wanted to make a less than complete vase, I could. Same thing with the end sweep, but it goes in the other direction. So that's the end sweep. The degree is cubic. I can set it to linear, and that will give me a faceted surface. And I can change the number of sections. So if I wanted to make a 4-sided vase, a square one, I could make a 4-sided vase. Or a triangle one. You can't really go down to 1. That would make a flat vase. Doesn't like that. And at any point I can also go back to cubic, which will make it round again. My axis is set to Y. That's the axis that we revolved around, and you can see if I come here, that's Y sticking up. I'm not going to use this one to show you the other two axes. I will just go ahead and delete it. Instead, I'll come into the option box. This is what an X revolve would look like. Ooh, let's select my curve and now run that X revolve. You can see it is being revolved around the X axis. That's this one right here. And there's also a Z axis revolve, which will give me this really horrible thing. Look how much interlacing is going on. Every part of the surface is interlacing over a different part of the surface. It is just awful. So I'm going to go back to Y. In the option box, I can make the same changes that I can after the surface is live. I can set it to be linear or cubic, adjust my start and end sweep, and change my number of segments. The other thing that I can do is I can change the output geometry. The default is NURBS, and we haven't done anything with NURBS in this class so far, and I don't think that this is the time to start. So I can switch my output geometry to polygons. If I do this, the other thing that I want to do is I want to set it up so that I am making quads instead of triangles to make it easier to edit. And I'm also going to set the tessellation method to control points, which will ensure that I don't get any n-gons. Now when I hit apply, you'll see I get the same vase except that it is all black. That means that it's inside out. I'm looking at the wrong side. To fix that, I can go up to Mesh Display and run this reverse command. Much better. Now it does look like a linear vase. If I hit the 3 key on my keyboard, that will make it a nice, smooth vase. So, what you want to remember when you're revolving is that you want to revolve around the y-axis. You want to generate polygonal output using quads and control points. The Revolve option box is in Surfaces, Revolve, Option box. When you draw your curve, you want to draw it using the front orthographic view, and you want to be sure that you both start and end at the origin axis. In the next video, I will talk about finishing up the vase. This is plenty. Give yourself some time, practice drawing that curve, and make a vase you are really proud of.